All right. Next question comes from Bondi Beach Beer on YouTube. Hey, Adam, you legend. At what stage would you water back your beer after you have acidified it? Just after knockout? If later in fermentation would it introduce dissolved oxygen? Is there a sweet spot a few days in? All right. So what I would recommend that you do is I would recommend that you go ahead and completely ferment out that beer. So you would take your higher gravity lager. So let's say I'll try to make some clean numbers here, at least clean in my mind. So if you wanted to make, I'm going to butcher this. The math is going to be terrible, but don't hate me. Think about the big picture that I'm going to be talking about here. So say you have 10 barrels of 10 barrels of a higher gravity lager that you want to water back. And say you really want the beer to basically be like a 1040 or like a 10 Plato beer. Maybe you brew it up to 1060. All right. So you brew it a third stronger. So that would mean you would need a third more water to dilute with. So if you're on a 15 barrel system, you would make 10 barrels of that higher gravity lager wort and ferment that out completely. Get it past diacetyl, get the yeast off of it, get it cold, get the yeast off of it, everything like that. And then what I would do is I would take your final measurements on that beer so you know exactly where you're resting. And then I would run filtered water into your kettle. I would give it a boil. And then I would probably adjust pH down with either phosphoric acid or lactic acid to the same pH of the beer that you are going to be blending. So the same final pH. And you would probably want to get a little bit of calcium, a little bit of chloride, and maybe even a little bit of gypsum in there too. Something that would be barrel per barrel what you would normally be doing with the base beer recipe as well. I would give that a little flash boil, and then I would run that into a sanitized bright tank, cooling it obviously through the heat exchanger, getting that carved up to the level that you want the other beer to be in, and then you could probably rack in on top of that. You want to be very careful to be checking your volumes, both of beer and deaerated water. That is the idea here, is that you are taking water, boiling any oxygen out of it, and then cooling it off, getting it carved. So you're essentially just making carbonated water, deaerated carbonated water. And yeah, I would also recommend that you do not run O2 through your heat exchanger, because oftentimes we're running O2 after that wort is cold. It is a great time to hook up CO2 to that O2 stone though, and to be blasting some gas through there to help, to further help scrub. Remember that bright tank you're going into, or that tank that you're going to be filling with deaerated water. You also want to have that purged as well. But that's a good way to do that. You could put it into a separate tank and then take measured amounts over into another tank. That's your call. But that's how I would handle cutting a beer with deaerated water. Bondi Beach Beer. Hopefully you like my answer. Hey, and thanks for calling me a legend, man. I appreciate it. I mean, it doesn't hurt my feelings. I also think that I hear it in your accent. When I read it, I feel like I'm hearing an Australian accent. And I do believe you're Australian. But if you're not, I apologize. There's only so much I can do. I try my best. But Bondi, thanks for the question.